Hey pals, I wanted to film again after leaving you for 3 weeks without a video. I thought maybe I should try to film more regularly. Then I might get myself into a better habit with YouTube and then you'll get more videos more regularly. So what I'm kind of thinking today, because it seemed like a few of you liked it when I did it last time, is reading from my journal from first year at uni. If you remember this little book. I only got so far into it and my camera died last time, so I just felt like maybe we could read some more pages and, you know, then you get to see into my brain again some of how first year was going. So if you want this video to make sense, I guess you'd be better watching the other video first, because that will give you like the background of what I'd been writing so far. The next entry I'm going to read from is from the 4th of February, and the one before that I read from was the 1st of February in 2017. So just to give you an idea of like where I was at, basically. I think maybe we'll just get into it because I feel like I don't need to ramble too much. Like, I should just read and we'll see what we find. You can't see the book, but I don't know if you care about seeing the book. Okay, so 4th of February 2017. I'm feeling rather exhausted right now. Today, it's Saturday. I got up at 7:10 AM, had a shower, washed my hair, got ready and got breakfast. A protein shake with Cocoa Pops, actually quite the winning combination despite only being done because I'm out of any other option. And then straight away, before it was even 10 AM, I got myself in the library to begin accomplishing today's target of a first draft of lab report completion. I'm happy to say that indeed has been done, and it required remaining in the library for very many hours of the day, barely stopping at all. But now, when my parents are here tomorrow for a little while, I have a little more breathing space. There's still a lot of work to do, but I'm pleased with what I managed to do today. In future, I think I'll go to the library more often to do my assignments, especially Saturday pre-9 AM. It's so blissfully quiet and it really gets the productivity going. It helps to keep my anxious ball of a self a little calmer. I really need to sleep. That's cute. So I said I'd use the library more to get work done. I mean I did use the library a lot, but not in that kind of a way. But yeah, definitely not in as committed a way as this clearly was, like getting there before 10 AM and then spending most of the day there to do my work. I never did it quite committedly as that, but go me, you know, I put the work in. But I think what this also reminds me of is how like regimented I kind of made myself be in first year at that time. Like I was very, I made sure I got up at 7 AM pretty much every morning, and my friends thought I was crazy because they, like most of them, would often miss like 9 AM lectures because they couldn't get up in the morning, or they'd leave themselves like half an hour to be ready and that's about it, and they'd just turn up half asleep still, whereas I'd been up for like 2 hours already, like every single time, and I got up early at the weekends still, even though I didn't need to, because I just had to be that regimented. I don't know why, I think it just helped me cope to have such a strict structure. And I think also one of the reasons I kind of got into the habit of getting up so early was because there wouldn't be anyone in the kitchen so early because none of my housemates would be up yet. So I'd get up that early to make sure that I had the kitchen to myself so that I could eat breakfast without anyone like watching me and making me feel uncomfortable. Because I don't know if I've said this before, but at this time I was pretty heavy in my eating disorder and being very restrictive and, you know, just really struggling with it. So I hated the thought of having to eat my meals with people, which is a problem because part of being at uni in first year and living in halls is that you eat your meals with people and you socialise and you get to know them that way. But I could not do it. I tried to make myself do it a handful of times, but with the eating disorder it made it incredibly uncomfortable and I just couldn't really cope with it. So I did my best to avoid being in the kitchen with other people as much as possible, which is sad. It's really sad that I like missed out on that part of like getting to know people at uni and socialising and just being normal and comfortable, you know. But that's the way I was, that's you know how things were for me at the time. So I'll read from the next insert, which is from the 5th of February then. For the most part, today has been one of my best days for a long time, the loveliest. I woke up so happy and positive and excited to see my parents. I wear my pretty new jumper, was practically bouncing around, giddy getting ready, and then guess who else showed up to see me? Neve. I was so thrilled to see her, I cannot describe. We then went to Costa. I had the loveliest vanilla soy latte, and I didn't think I'd really be able to do this. It wasn't easy after how difficult food has been lately. I also had the majority of a large cookie. I'm glad I did. I think they needed to see me do that. They then took me shopping, like they hadn't already brought me enough, and stocked me up on a few of the things I was missing, fruit most importantly. The day took a slight sad turn when they had to leave and I had to begin finishing off my work. Their mere presence just filled me with so much more life that when they're gone I noticed that part of me missing all too strongly again. I thought I wasn't going to be able to complete my work this week, but I got myself out to the library with some friends and they helped me get done what was needed. Today I have felt blessed for the people I have in my life. Aww, little Fion. Yeah, I remember this time, and I have a photo of this day when I wore the new jumper and went to Costa and felt so proud of myself for like pushing the limits of my eating disorder and having that cookie, even though it was probably pretty scary and I probably treated that cookie and the latte as lunch, as a meal, and knowing me, I probably didn't eat later, or I only had like a soup to make up for doing that. But at the time, doing it felt really good to me, and it also felt really good to me to let my family know that I was okay. That's, I guess, kind of what I felt like I was doing. Like, I pushed myself to do that and have the latte and the cookie so that they could see me eat it and they would be comforted, because I know they were worrying about me at the time, because anytime they came to see me I was losing more and more weight, and yeah, they were concerned, scared and worried, and like they knew I'd had a history of an eating disorder in the past, so they probably maybe expected that I'd struggle, but I don't think they expected it to be going as badly as it was already, like that early on in my university experience. So yeah, I guess I kind of did that to try and show them that I was okay, which I don't know whether that's good or bad, in that like I wasn't okay, but it was a sign that I was trying, I guess. So there's that at least. But yeah, I remember the day, and it was really important to me to see them, because any time that I got to see them just made me feel so much better when I felt like everything else around me was sort of like crumbling and I was just terrified and not happy. Yeah. Then for the 7th of February, the only entry I've got here is I hate food and food hates me. And I feel like maybe that just says it all. I'll show that you so you like believe that that's what I said. The 8th of February says, still hating food, but myself more today. My head is a nasty place to be trapped in right now. The best I can do is to keep myself distracted as much as possible. Try to be productive. Getting work done always makes me feel somewhat better. Breathe. As hard as it is today, keep breathing. And then the 15th of February, I decided to write down some messages that I'd sent to my mum, because I felt like they were describing how I felt quite aptly, and I felt like having a record of that somewhere else would be important for me in the future reading back. So here we are in the future reading back. I'll just read them through as if I've written them in as a passage in the diary. So I feel really sad tonight now, and I don't know why. Too many thoughts racing around now about everything, and I have a conflict in my head over whether to go and see if the flatmates are drinking, to force myself to be social for once because it might feel like a small success, or to just let myself try to sleep to shut my brain up, and simply because I'm just so tired. I don't think I've recovered properly from my lack of sleep Sunday night, Monday morning, and that whole horribleness, referring here to a binge episode and lots of sad tears about my work and life. I need to sleep, but to sleep feels like I failed today. I haven't done enough work and I haven't socialised. Today it was almost good, but now my mood has truly plummeted. I don't really care about Valentine's Day. More on this later. So I know that isn't the problem. I know you're asleep and you won't get this before I go to bed myself, but I just wanted to spill out the thoughts so I felt like less trapped in my own head, to someone I know cares about me, even though I know you hate hearing about me being sad, so I really am sorry for this. I know lots about how I feel is food-centric often. Certainly Monday, the main reason I felt shitty was the binge episode of the night before. Today though, and yesterday, I didn't eat lots, and yes, to some extent eating less always makes me feel better and more controlled, but look at me now, I still feel bloody shit tonight. The main method I implement, the only one I really know works and use, doesn't even really work, not really. So I just feel like I'm trapped with this and lost for ways to make me feel better, to lift me up from the slump. What I'm trying to say is I know there aren't any quick fixes, but I wish there were. Final thing I want to ask. Sunday I know was pretty bingey. So this was 6 white chocolate covered rice cakes, 3 Trek bars, 3 protein bars in total I think. So yes, a lot. It's not that bad clearly, like it's not like the most horrendous binge of like thousands and thousands and thousands of calories, but it felt horrendous to me at the time to eat that much in one go, so I was just not happy. You don't eat that entire bag of food in a couple of hours and have any uncertainties about that, especially after the ton of cake and chocolate and pizza, etc. So I think this is talking about having gone home for a weekend or something and having visited my brother in Sheffield, so we had bits and bobs of treats because I was at home and I'd gone to see my brother. Like, it's a pretty normal and natural thing for people to do, but for me, I felt horrendous and wanted to punish myself horrifically because of it, you know? But Saturday and Friday, you saw how I was eating. Was that bingey? You know more than I do what normal person eating is like. Was that just someone treating themselves a bit, or was it a binge? Because I know you also know what I mean when I say I felt like I've been binging. In a way, I'm asking because I'm not sure how I felt about it. I feel like these days may have been fractionally more controlled than my usual binge days, but I know I also did undeniably eat a lot, and a lot more than I'm used to eating at the moment. Then I said I just want to rationalise some food thoughts because I need to learn to improve things like this. So I just didn't know what normal eating was. I'd been so used to restricting all the time, and then my body ending up having ridiculous cravings, so I'd eat a lot and a lot and a lot. And I'd always call that a binge, whether or not it was like more normal person eating or not. It'd feel like a binge or a cheat to me, and then I'd feel horrible about it. But then also in a more rational state of mind, I'd want to ask someone, like I am here, like I'm asking my mum here, what did you think of that? Was that a normal person eating, or was that a binge? Because yeah, I need to rationally know what that was so that I could deal with it. You know, if that makes any sense. This was all sent on the 14th of February. It is now the morning of the 16th. I just wanted to make a record of what happened here because it has felt very difficult. I have had quite the dip recently. Sometimes rather than coming immediately to write my thoughts down here, it tends to feel easier to type them out in a message when I can get a response and reassurance, but the things I wrote about to Mum will get lost in our chat and there will be nowhere to refer back to them if I hadn't chosen to rewrite it all. I want to be able to learn from these experiences. I don't feel like writing much more now, but to explain the whole bit about Valentine's Day, and then I go on to talk about my now boyfriend, who at the time was just my friend, but he had a crush on me for the longest time, was going to tell me on Valentine's Day morning, and that's a whole different story in itself, but I'm not gonna tell you that. So then we get the 1st of March and I go, and just like that, it's March. Where is the time going? February was a weird month. A lot, and simultaneously not a lot, happened. Lots of things I'm still struggling to process. And 20 days later, 22nd of March, I write, I come home for the Easter break Friday the 17th of March. I have to be honest, I'm struggling with being back home quite a lot. It's not easy to adjust to such a huge change of routine and environment. A whole different set of problems raise their ugly heads when I'm not at university anymore. I guess if nothing else, this proves that I'm unwell mentally, given the struggling seems to follow me anywhere, even if it does manifest itself in different ways. I'm terrified I'm gaining terrible tons of weight. I need to stop eating so much, but it's hard when I can no longer control the food I surround myself with. I'll have to get myself under control soon, by myself. Given weight gain is what others want from me right now, they're probably happy about this, but I'm really not. The thing is though, I've decided I'm going... Oh! This is me talking about, like, wanting to go vegan. Yeah. Okay. We're back. My camera charged for a few hours. My cat's here, who you can see there. So sorry if the angle's changed or the lighting's changed. I had to charge my battery. I think at the end of where I was filming before, I mentioned that I was like reading where around the time when I decided to go vegan, and how I felt about that with regards to like my eating as well, my eating disorder. Given that I wanted to go vegan, but before I went vegan, I wanted to make sure that I ate certain things so that I didn't miss them too much when I turned vegan. So yeah, that's what I was talking about. So that gets in the way of losing the weight back again a bit. but hopefully I'll be able to soon. I eat 80% vegan already anyway, so it won't all be that hard, but I will have trouble not being able to eat my usual protein bars anymore. See, that was a big thing, because I heavily relied on those. For some reason, protein bars were okay to me, and I convinced myself that they had some nutritional value, but I also found them really nice, so I bought them really often, and it was like one of the only things that I found, you know, like tasty and enjoyable to eat that I let myself have. So yeah, I was quite reliant on them, and to go vegan would mean letting go of that. I don't know if I've said this before, but like back when I originally like started having an eating disorder, I got quite obsessed with these things called Quest bars, and I would eat those like all the time. We'd make sure that I had Quest bars in the house at all times, pretty much. We'd like always buy them at certain times. Like I remember having some days where all I would, excuse me cat, excuse me, thank you, where all I would eat was like a Quest bar or two and fruit when I decided I was going to have like a diet day. So that's a bit weird and messed up, but yeah, I was really obsessed with them. They weren't vegan either, so I knew that even though I'd stopped being as obsessed with them by the time I got to uni, I knew that I'd never have a Quest bar again if I went vegan. Stop it! No, you're not allowed to ruin these. What a naughty little bean. I was scared about giving up certain foods that I like relied on or were the only things that I would allow myself as sort of treats or like food that I enjoyed, you know? This has to be done though. Now I finally face the reality of the cruelty that comes from providing us with dairy products. No food is worth the pain of animals. Okay, so then kind of at this point, for a little bit, I decided to stop like journaling in here, and instead I've got a couple days where I did like positive reflections to end the day on, because I thought like that would be something that was like a good habit to get into, to make sure that even if I had like really horrible shitty days, what am I trying to say? That I had something positive to take from every day, no matter what, you know, that was kind of the thought. So here on the 24th of April, I've written positive reflections to end the day on. 1. I've been much happier with my intake the past 2 days, i.e. I haven't binged. So again, with that comment, it's like a lot of how I would view my days and how everything went was if I had not binged and I had stuck to what I believed in my head was a reasonable amount of food or less. It didn't matter if it was nothing, that would be fine with me. That would be being happy with my intake, as I've written. As long as it wasn't above a certain amount, then that was a good day. And if I had eaten too much, then that was a bad day. And that's the kind of importance that food had on my life and on my mind and how everything felt day to day, which is a little bit crazy. But that's the kind of the reality of having an eating disorder. Everything does sort of end up revolving around food and how you feel about your body and how you feel about eating and all of that. It's just your whole life revolves around it pretty much. And yeah. The number 2 we've got, I've managed to not think all day about my size and have occupied myself better as distractions. So, you know, good. 3, although I miss not having them around me, I have wonderful parents who are never too far away. That one's a sweet one. Then we've got the 26th of April. I have a comfortable place to sleep and shelter. I do have people that care about me. I like the feeling of sun on my skin now. Oh, see, that kind of makes that day sound like I was struggling, because the things that I have found here to be like positive about are just so simple and kind of also profound. Like, I don't really know whether it was associated with my mental health, but back in like my secondary school days, I was like known for hating the sun and hating when it was warm and like hiding behind people when it was too bright, and like I can't really unpack the reasons for that. Like I have some reasons, like I hated being warm because it made me sweaty, and then I felt embarrassed about being sweaty and it made me uncomfortable and irritable and all of that jazz. But Why I hated just the sun being bright, I don't know. I don't know why that bothered me so much, but then come to this difficult time in my life and having the sun on my skin, you know, felt good. It like was reminding me that I was alive, and like that was what was important in that moment rather than whatever was bothering me about the sun before. Like, you know, it just shows a change in my mindset and my mental state in like a really small way, I guess. Then, because I was really indecisive, the next few days, right, you can see, maybe you can see, there is like the end of the diary, and then we have the positive reflections bit, and then on the next page I decided to change what I was doing with the book again and start doing a like learn something new every day project, I called it, where I wondered about things, and then I wanted to, you know, if I had a question I'd go find it out and then I'd note it down, and you know, that'd be the fun fact I learnt that day, you know. So I literally noted down things as random as like how many hairs people have on their head, like the percentage of people that are different sexualities, largest countries in like landmass and population, endangered species of animals, weird things about animals. Here, this is mental health related, number 7 on my entry 1, 29th of, this was months later, I think July, I've put Paul Eugene Bleuler, I can't pronounce his name. He coined the term schizophrenia in 1910, deriving it from the Greek words for split mind, intending it to refer to dissociation or loosening of thoughts and feelings. He observed to be a prominent feature of the illness. So yeah. Then I wrote about Genghis Khan, because he's pretty interesting and crazy, and that's a whole story, isn't it? Ooh, I like this fact that I found. Okay, it says, this entry was on the 30th of July, I think. It says, as of 2015, there had been 108.2 billion people ever born, meaning that 100.8 billion that have died before us. So when, doesn't it, to me, it trips me out, and I hope it trips you out too, that if ghosts exist, there are so many more dead people than there are living people. Like, does it not blow your mind, like, how many people have ever died, when there's only like 9 billion or something that currently live on the planet? And this is like, there's 100.8 billion dead people. What? I find that wild. Anyway, I wrote about some weird invention called the dog sack. The stapes is the third bone of the 3 ossicles of the middle ear, a stirrup-shaped bone that is the smallest of the human body. The femur, the thigh bone, is the largest. Then I got like a fact here about the longest living animals. I want to read that one because that one's quite interesting. The longest living mammal on Earth is the Arctic or bowhead whale, the oldest known being at least 200 years old. The oldest known fish, a koi, died at 226 years old. The oldest known Arctic sponge is estimated at, get this, 1,550 years old. But the, I cannot pronounce this, but it's a type of jellyfish, is like essentially immortal, which is really trippy. I'd have to like read up on that more again to understand exactly what that's supposed to mean. But yeah, there's a jellyfish that's kind of immortal in a way. We come to the next 2 days, and this page I find interesting because clearly over these next 2 days, the 31st I intended to make an entry and wrote nothing, and the 1st of August the only thing I wrote under that entry was, I can survive even when it feels like I can't, and I feel as though I don't even want to. Pain is temporary. So what that tells me about these 2 entries in these 2 days is that I clearly had a very, very rough time around these 2 days, and you know, I wanted to try to keep going with this project that I'd set for myself, but I felt unable for whatever reason. And then the next day I had more of a glimmer of hope, and that's what I wrote down for the next day. And then some years later, when I found this again and kind of got emotional reading it and realising what it all meant, I wrote in another entry and decorated the page a little bit and wrote, "These pages ended up being left very blank. It appears I may have been going through a bad dip and I couldn't find the energy for positivity and learning. It is now the 23rd of February 2018 when I write this. I am still alive and I'm hopeful. Pain really is temporary, and Fionn, you're a strong girl. If I could tell past Fionn on these days anything, it's that you can and will survive, and you'll be very thankful you did. Pain comes back sometimes, of course it does, but it always goes away again." And, you know, there's still more in this book, so if you want more videos, plugging myself, then I can make those, because I have got some more interesting entries, as I can see in here. I started using it a bit like a journal again for a couple more entries, but I feel like that's a good place to stop this video now. So I can give you more from this book if you want. Like I said, I hope you watched the other video. If you haven't watched it, go watch it, because there's, you know, some more interesting entries in here from the beginning of my uni experience. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video or found it interesting in some way, or took a good message from it. I love talking to you guys and sharing with you guys and making videos, and I'm gonna try my best to keep up with that more this year. Let's get this year to be the year that I experience lots of growth in many different ways in life, because that'd be pretty awesome and I'd love to do it with you guys. So yeah, comment what you thought of it. If you keep a journal and you have any interesting entries in it, I love you. Like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one, yeah?